Yeah, okay, time to live free. Plenty goals I'm achieving. Some real life topics and talking financial freedom. Mindset, soul and love, everything in between. This is Freedom Podcast. Tune in, live free. Hey, got my mindset right and I got the drive. Planning one day, no more job, no more 9 to 5. Love, money, mine. Love, money, mine. This is freedom. Tune in, cause it's going down. Woo!
Hi, this is Anna and welcome to another episode of Your Freedom Podcast. In this episode, I interview Janette Burke. Janette is a leading menopause wellness practitioner with over 32 years of experience in holistic therapies. And she's recently turned her attention to helping women through menopause using modalities such as belief coding and menopause wellness coaching sessions. Janette started her research into menopause in 2018 and she embarked on perimenopausal symptoms at the age of 47. She formalised this with her training in early 2023 and has continued to go to release her book, Hot Mess to Hotness, which went straight onto the bestsellers list for Amazon Books in Canada and in the UK. She's truly inspiring. She's had an amazing journey, and as you all know from the interview, Janette has always wanted women to feel better about themselves. I know Janette personally. She's godmother to my son, and I'm truly inspired to see her grow. Hello. It is great to get Janette on the show.
Hello.
It's so fab to have you on because I know, obviously, me and Janette are, as well as business acquaintances, we also know each other on a personal level. So Janette is godmother to my eldest son. So I have a special place in my heart for Janette. And so it's great to get her on this podcast because I've seen her transformation and growth over the last few years, doing all of her focus on helping women feel better about themselves ultimately. And I know you've worked on your journey personally. So it's great to have you on this because obviously with this podcast, we share our journeys, our stories.
Thank you for asking me. It's an absolute honour, and I appreciate your support as well. And yeah, as you say, the journey, had a big journey over the last few years, and just want to help others, continue helping others. I've been in the industry of helping others for 30 plus years, and it kind of took a different tack a few years ago.
And actually, when you think about it, you have always wanted to make women feel good about themselves.
100%.
Your big thing throughout, looking back at all the different things that you've done. And it's nice now to see that, obviously, for people who don't know Janette is a menopause coach, a mentor, and also just help wellness overall for women. And when you think about when you left school, did you go straight into beauty then? What
I did, yes. So I originally wanted to be a makeup artist and started looking into other alternatives. And at that time, beauty was very much in its infancy in regards to what it offered and what we could do. So I went straight to college from the age of 16. I did a hair up beauty course and then just ended up loving the beauty side of it. The hairdressing was not really for me. So yes, got qualified in 1990 and worked in a variety of different establishments, had my own salon, and just the growth of treatments that I was able to train in over the years. I went down a lot more of the holistic route.
I also remember you, when I was pregnant with Jacob, you coming over and giving me the most amazing massage, like for any mother on here, when you're in those last few weeks and you just feel so uncomfortable, you got this massive big baby inside you, and you got backache and everything's just aching. I have the best massage, I remember. So that's going back because Jacob
is going back quite a few years. So he's going to be 16 in the next couple of days. Exactly. So yeah, that was a while back.
And of course you were in the Midlands when you moved to Bristol.
Yes.
I think you've always had that entrepreneurial spark as well, haven't you? You've always wanted to be your own boss and have that freedom and flexibility.
I think from you know, and a lot of other people might identify with this, when you become a single parent when you weren't expecting to be a single parent, you know, you have to kind of just get on with it and do the best that you can. But even prior to that, when I was 13, I did a paper round. When I was at college, I had 3 jobs. I was always, you know, wanting more than what I had, whether it be financially or also keeping busy. You know, I'm one of these people that I can't sit still very easily.
Independent like that, like wanting your, you know, wanting your independence and wanting to drive that path forward of what everyone's done. So I think you've always had that in you. But it's been nice recently because I've been working with Janette with her book. So those of you watching us on YouTube will be able to see. So it's called Hot Mess to Hotness. So anybody listening to this, if you go into the show notes, if you're listening on iTunes or Spotify or any of the podcast channels, if you go into the show notes, you'll be able to see the link directly to buy this book that's live on Amazon. Janette's been a bestseller in Canada, in the UK, in some interesting categories around the sex niche.
Sex instruction for women.
I think it's that hot mess to hotness.
I think it must be that name.
Yeah,
I think it's a bit raunchy.
Yeah, exactly. But it's a really cool guide because I've been helping her, but I've been more like in the structural way of like, right, formatting, rather than actually looking at all of the content. And what's great is she shares her story. And it has been a challenging journey. We'll share a little bit more about that in a minute. But she shares her journey. She shares some tips and helps some education of understanding all the different symptoms of menopause, which I found really interesting actually, because I didn't know fully all of them. I'm like, oh, maybe I am premenopausal. But you know, some of the symptoms that you'll get, and then also it just helps people understand it, that you're not going crazy or you're not getting fat or whatever other symptoms.
Yeah. And there's a reason behind it. You know, a lot of people just think that these things are happening and there's no reason why, or and there is reasons behind it and how the body works and how it affects us.
But it's also got a practical part to it, so you can also start tracking your symptoms and also looking at what you want your dream life of happiness to look like. Have you got a purpose that you want to go out there in the world? What do you want to really manifest? And it's got all of that in there, so it all ends on a real positive as well. So it's a really cool book. Anybody listening to this who wants to grab a copy, and if you obviously watch us on YouTube, you'll be able to see the great cover, and you'll be able to see all the links to buy it in the comments section. But what I did want to, because obviously this podcast, I always share about my 3 pillars, which are love, money, and mind. Love is self-care, self-love. Money, obviously, is having the freedom to be able to choose what we want to do. And mindset, to me, encompasses the whole thing, because we don't know what's around the corner, and all the time we're being triggered. Like with me sharing what's happened personally, you know, things trigger us and take us back to a place of where we were recovering in a dark place, and we get triggered all the time. You know, I remember you being on a real high on your book launch, and then we all get triggered to different things because there's, especially when we're building business, there's highs and lows, there's challenges, there's things that are faced, hurdles we're going to get across. But ultimately, I always think what inspires a lot of people that listen to this podcast is that everybody I interview has put their foot on the edge of the cliff and just gone for whatever their dream is. And within that, because you're moving into an uncomfortable and a learning phase, there are going to be mistakes that you make with whatever we do, but it's actually the persevering and the visualization of getting there. And I know that your journey, I don't know if you want to share for people who may have gone through challenges, and you know, I know you've got a personal side as well. Just share, you want to, like, some of the challenges that you got through to get to where you got.
Absolutely. I mean, back in 2018 is definitely when my journey of perimenopause started, and I did just that with the tracking of the symptoms. I could see and feel changes within myself, my personality, my body, horrendous migraines, the weight gain, and also how it was affecting me in my work. At the time, I was a spa manager of a very, very busy spa, working for some quite difficult people, and very much a perfectionist and putting a lot of pressure on myself. So anxiety was starting, and the symptoms just intensified over a period of time. And I personally had decided I didn't want to go down the medication route at that time, being from a very holistic background. So I did do for a couple of years, do everything that I could do with the knowledge I had at that time, to be able to try and help myself. And sadly, just before the first lockdown, I was made redundant. And looking back at that, I now believe that I was made redundant because of my menopause symptoms, because I wasn't performing in the way that they were previously. I wasn't able to do treatments due to the aches and pains, which again can be a big part of the symptoms. And, the realization that of what's been happening over the last couple of years with other women, that they are being pushed out of the workplace or not treated fairly. So, I definitely wanted to look more into the reasons for the symptoms happening. And as time went on, I realized I needed to do a lot more inner work, because a lot of my anxieties came from another place, from previous. And this is where I obviously looked into belief coding, and in fact, it was you again that introduced me to that.
Yeah, it was actually. But I think you saw me share something there, wasn't it? Because I remember I didn't say, hey, Janette, you need to check out this belief code. I think you asked me, you'd seen something, you were asking me questions about it, and I know you were following Tracy at the time. Right?
Yes, I was. Yes,
really, aligned with her story. But yeah, it's funny, we've had quite a few belief coders that I've interviewed in different ways, not just about belief coding. But I think now my listeners understand what belief coding is.
Yes. And it was pivotal for me to go down that route, to help with my whole self and understand more about my negative beliefs from within and how that was affecting me. And a lot of research has been done about how past traumas can affect your symptoms. So it's interesting to have learned more about that as well. So definitely, when I looked into the belief coding, I knew I needed to do it for myself, but obviously I wanted to help other people, and that's where I've linked it in with the book, and going on to treating people that are wanting to have a life plan organized, linking in the belief coding as well as the menopause wellness appointments.
No, it's I can just see how the two of, because that's, I think, your difference, isn't it? It isn't just about menopause and health. It's like the holistic look at you as a person, and again, the whole time you've ever been working, all you want to do is help women feel better about themselves. That's what it ultimately
it is that. Yes. And where women haven't had a voice and women haven't been able to, I don't know, dig deep within themselves to understand where their insecurities have laid, and to be able to help them at the next stage of their life. You don't want to come to perimenopause and menopause and think, that's it for me, and I'm proof that you can start something new, you can have a new life, you can learn something new. And why not? I think a lot of women think that they get to their 50s and okay, I'm just going to stick with the job that I've been doing for the last 30 years, or stay with the same man, or do all the same things that I used to do. But you can get this inner confidence of, actually, no, I'm going to do something new, I'm going to do something different, and I need to put myself first as well.
It's kind of like that midlife stage, isn't it?
It is. I used to laugh about people, people used to say, oh, midlife crisis, and it is absolutely 100%. It is true. It does happen to men and to women. So it's which way you take that next part.
Exactly. And I know you're also doing the men's book, aren't you? Working on that.
Yes. So that's the next stage. I think it'll probably be started after Christmas. So my husband and myself need to get together to do that. It was it came from a conversation of one of the people that I was interviewing. regarding for the book, and we were met for a coffee, and her husband joined us, and I've known this particular lady since we were at school, 12 years of age, so I've known her husband a long time as well. But she, I didn't know anything about her symptoms. I didn't know how it affected them as a couple, and they were both very, very open about it. And he just flippantly said, "You need to do one of these for the blokes as well."
Yeah.
Okay. And then I said the same to my husband. He said, "Right, that is definitely what we need to do."
I definitely think that's a really good idea, definitely, because it's true. It's like men need to understand it more as well.
They need to understand it
more.
more.
They do put up with stuff, so it's like from both sides. They need
exactly,
support, don't they?
I definitely will put my hand up and say, I was very difficult to live with at one time, but what I've found is, because we have talked about it and got to the worst part we could have done in our marriage, is I don't let things fester, and I have to address things at the time.
Having that,
it's so important to do that.
Understanding is really important. So for people who are listening to this and thinking, "Hey, this Janette lady sounds pretty cool," and I'm sure that from or just align with what you're saying, like people might be thinking, "Yeah, you know what, some of those symptoms, and actually I'm just like unhappy. I want a new sort of facelift. I want a new change. I want to set myself a new challenge. I want to go after my passions." So I think it's that midlife time you start questioning what you do. It might even be you've left a partner, or you've moved to a different, or you might just feeling stuck in what you're doing and just keep doing the same thing, but you felt like there's something more inside you. Then what's the best way for people to reach out to you? And also, I know that you work with companies, and also you work with individuals, and probably there may be some companies on here that listen, and their HR department could get in touch with you about how to get women more productive in the workplace if you're supporting them going through the menopause, basically. But if people are listeners as an individual, how can you help them, and how do they reach out to you, if you know what I mean? Because of course it is Menopause Week this week.
It is, it's actually the month, and next Wednesday the 18th, that is the main day of the month that is celebrated and encouraged
which is when this broadcast is going live. So on today, it should be the Menopause Day on the 18th, and so it is a special time. So how can you help people if people are feeling like they're suffering?
There's a number of ways they can reach out to me. I have got a Facebook group which is called Hot Mess to Hotness. I'm on Instagram as well as the Janette Burke, and on LinkedIn as Janette Burke. They can reach out to me at any of those methods. But what I'm trying to do for each individual is customize it as a bespoke to what they need. So the main thing is that we have an initial conversation meeting via Zoom, face to face, depending on the location. I'm located in the Bristol area, and obviously I do have connections in the Midlands, so I can travel, but all of this can be done online. It doesn't have to be face to face. So in the initial meeting, we go very heavy and deep into what's going on at the moment, talk about the symptoms, lifestyle, what's going on in your life, and we're talking about an hour and a half discussion for that. We will then have a follow-up meeting, whereas I will put a plan together for them, so bespoke to them and their needs, usually about a week later, so that they probably have a bit of time to digest everything they've talked about, and then we go through the plan. And then following that, they're going to have what I would advise is for them to follow up that with a belief coding facilitation, so that we are going to follow up with the healing side and maybe working on any specifics that came up within the meeting in regards to possible anxiety, sleep issues, and all of those kind of things that are very prevalent in menopause. And then we have another meeting a few weeks later, and we go from there, and we'll see how they get on. Obviously, they would possibly have purchased my book in the meantime to be able to look through there, so that and log these symptoms and see how often they're having those symptoms. And as part of the book,
the book again now.
book, here we go again. We've got the manifesting part as well. So not only are we talking about the negatives of what's happening, we're talking about the new beliefs as well. So that's where the belief coding hits in as well. So we're going to be having conversations over initially sort of a month to 6 weeks, and then just see how we go after that. And this can link in with medication. Or it can be on the holistic basis. There's lots of different options.
Yeah, no, it sounds really good. I love it. I like how you're working with someone for a period of time as well.
Yes.
Taking them through those steps, if you know what I mean.
It can't be just right, do this and get on with it. It needs to be over a period of time, just as if you were going to see your doctor. You know, they would ask you to come back after a month, 6 weeks, 3 months to check you. It's the same kind of process.
Yeah, no, I really like it. And I think the first step for people could be to get into your hot mess group, which is completely free, where you offer a lot of different support and advice.
Lots of information. Yes. So at the moment, I'm doing a daily post during this month with various information about symptoms and what you can do to help those symptoms. So yes, there's a lot of information that they can see on there as well.
And as you can hear from Janette, she's so passionate about this, at helping women. Like I say, her whole life, from when she was doing all the whole beauty, that's all I've ever seen her want to do, is make other women feel better about themselves and feel happier. So definitely, you'll be able to see in the show notes and in the comments the link to Janette's Hot Mess to Hot Mess group, the link to buy her book. And I think those two parts, you jump inside those, you'll be able to then reach out to her about, just having a discussion about how she can help you further. So definitely, if you have got symptoms of menopause, or you just, reaching those midlife years and you want to feel better about yourself and you want a plan to improve your happiness, because it's been a tough few years. I was looking at the word self-development. More people are Googling self-development. It's on an incline, whereas it always used to be just straight. It's increasing. So, and I know speaking to my therapist that I had after me going through stuff, she said she can't keep up with the wait list. So people are taking things into their own hands now, and sometimes medication from the GP isn't always the answer. It can
not
help.
At all.
You've got to as well take leadership in your own life. That's what I've realised from my experience of working in the pharmaceutical industry and stuff. It's your health. You've got to drive it forward, and it's only you that can. Even for people who are in pain, had an accident, stuff like that. We've got to take ownership of our own steering wheel, rather than thinking that all the time we just go to the GP, because obviously our systems break in as well here in the UK. So we're going to
totally is, and I do think that the younger group of people, my daughter's in her 20s, I know quite a lot of other people younger in that kind of age group, and they are looking at alternatives to try and help themselves and not get to the stage that a lot of people are by the time they're 30 in regards to their mental health. So that the options and information, there is a lot more there, but it is taking that step and reaching out is so important.
Yeah, definitely. And I think like you say, the younger generations seem to be a bit more open, don't they? But they're also in this digital world where they might do it in different ways than we would do. It's been fab having you on the show. I know I always ask everybody a certain question. I know you've listened to any of the other episodes. I always ask everybody, what does freedom mean to you? People want to say the deep and meaningful thing. Actually, it can be, someone asked it me 10 years ago, I know I probably would have been like, money. Whereas now I'm a bit more like, actually, I just want to be free to be what I want to be, What does freedom mean to you?
I think it's freedom of speech. I think for so long I was scared to be open and say either what was going on in my life, what had gone on in my life, and how I felt. I really do think that freedom is about being open and honest, and sadly you're not going to get that with everybody around you, or but I feel that freedom is freedom of speech, freedom to be who I want to be now, and being comfortable with me, which for years I wasn't.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, no, I like that. That is good. No, because it's true. Because we live like what other people perceive as like, or what we feel that we should be, rather than just being comfortable about who we are. And knowing, this is what I thought of mine when I spent a lot of time on my own. I was like, I kind of know my insecurities more now, rather than masking them. Do you know what I mean?
yes. Yeah.
So, and actually, I'm happy with those insecurities. Whereas I always like.
I think it's acceptance, isn't it? It's
Yeah,
acceptance that you kind of like, okay, I am like that. Okay, that's fine. And
maybe
if you don't like it, then that's the way it is.
Maybe it's a midlife thing. We're all getting
Again, yeah.
We're in our 20s. We're like,
you were like, oh no, can't be like that, can't say that, can't do that, can't be like that. Yeah. It's like you don't give up. You know what?
Exactly. It's been fab having you on the show. For everyone that's listening, remember it is menopause. Is it menopause month? Is that what they call it?
It's Menopause Awareness Month, but then the 18th is the day.
Yeah. So if you're listening to this and you feel like, yeah, I feel like I need to reach out, get inside Janette's book and group. Get in the group and then buy the book. Hot mess to hotness, that's all you need to remember for both. But the links are in the comment section. And yeah, I just think, in fact, it may even be someone that's listening, you know what, I could do this, Janette, in my work. If there's anything like that, because I think sometimes we do need to talk more about these topics, like me with domestic abuse. I just think we should be more aware of it. And actually, sometimes it feels like, oh, it's a very girl thing to do, or a woman thing to do. You know, like in the workplace, I can imagine me feeling like, oh God, yeah, I'm not going to say anything because I'm competing against the guys all the time. That corporate world.
And sadly, menopause can happen at any age and for for lots of reasons. You know, surgical, people who've had cancer, hysterectomies, you know, polycystic ovaries, and reasons that, you know, lots of reasons why they can be thrown into menopause. So, you know, having that conversation within the workplace, and there is, you know, a BSI standards. I can't remember the number. I think it's 30468 or something like that. I'll have to get my notes out. But there's a new BSI standards that is trying to encourage businesses to have their menopause and menstruation policy. So, you know, there's going to be male managers that need to know about these kind of things. Exactly. So, and you know, other men that may be involved in the workshops that I'm going to be doing, that their partner's going through it. So yeah, it needs to be a conversation.
Need more understanding, don't they? Yeah, everyone needs educating on it. Yeah, it's an important one. I didn't realise that about the policies and stuff like that. So that is quite good. So it's like they can tick their box very easily by outsourcing.
Very easily. Yes, they can.
Yeah. Brilliant. It's been great having you on the show. I can't wait to see the book for the guys when that's out. And so thanks ever so much, Janette, for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me.
Cheers. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to another episode of Your Freedom Podcast. And don't forget to subscribe on iTunes and subscribe on my YouTube channel. And if you want to get more freedom in your life, then come and join Your Freedom Project Facebook group, which the link is below in the comments section. And I am giving you a copy of my visualization manifesting book. So manifest more freedom in your life and live the life of your dreams.
Hey, thank you for listening. Hope you had a blast. Here to elevate your life. It's the Freedom Podcast. Love, money, mind. Love, money, mind. Wanna see you all win. Wanna see you all shine. Just make sure that you subscribe. Bringing good vibes. Join the Facebook group. Now it's time to change your life. Hope you come back. Right now is the chance. This is an experience. It's the Freedom